Okay, trying this again. I tried a Instagram live stream, and for some reason from my cell phone, the internet was not working enough to do a proper stream. So I moved over here to YouTube to see if anyone wants to join me here because I felt bad that folks couldn't really hear what I was saying over on Instagram. So hopefully this will work a little bit better. I'm not sure if it will. And I'm not sure if any of my Instagram friends will make the move over to join me here. So we'll see. It is an experiment, as all live streaming seems to be these days. Um, I was just talking a little bit about our new single that we have coming out soon. Um, and we have a new single coming out on December 10th. It's something that we haven't tried ever before, as far as the way that it was written and the way that it was recorded. So I'm happy to talk about it and to take any questions that folks may have. Please let me know in the chat if this is working because it wasn't working over on Instagram. So I would be very curious. Aha, Steve. Cheers. It is by better. So I'm just going to have a conversation with Steve now. By better, do you mean functioning or still cutting out? What is the criteria for better? I'm asking a lot of you, Steve, as far as feedback goes. I'm in the woods in upstate New York, so it is not completely surprising to me that there are internet issues that I quite a lot here. So the YouTube live stream that I did last week seemed to go relatively well. Um, so I'm not sure why tonight may be any different, but you know, things are uh, things are different depending on the atmospheric factors and whatnot. Excellent. I can be heard now. That is great. That is good to hear. So I was just saying over on Instagram. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I was just saying over on Instagram that we have a new single coming out on December 10th, and it was a different process than the silent comedy has ever done as far as songwriting goes. We collaborated with these guys with a podcast called Pod Songs that are based in the squirrels interfere with a lot of stuff around here, but not the internet. I think it's just a factor of being far away from civilization and not having any major service providers to provide a signal to my house here. I use this little local internet company that literally is based in the tiny little village that I live outside of here, and that my house is outside of up here, and it is like a mom and pop telecom company if such a thing exists. So it is interesting. But yeah, we recorded this single. We did a collaboration with a podcast called Pod Songs, and um, they're based in Italy. This guy Jack Stafford, the host, and he is he has a great concept for this podcast, which is artists interview experts in different fields, and then they take everything they discuss in that interview and they write a song that's inspired by it. The inspiration could be from a sound to lyrics or whatnot. And so we had the opportunity, my brother and I, Jeremiah, we had that opportunity to interview fermentation expert Sandor Katz, who we were very fascinated by his work, by what he studies and what he has written many books about and whatnot. And So we wrote a song called Changes that is really inspired by kind of loose themes that were brought to our mind over the course of that interview. And you could search Pod Songs on anywhere that you get your podcasts and find that interview now, even in advance of the song coming out. And so we recorded some instruments in Nashville, where my brother and I live, primarily. And then we sent them over to Italy, and some musicians over there recorded other tracks, sent them back to us. We recorded more, and we kind of changed the song and whatnot. And we sent it back and forth across the Atlantic Ocean and came up with this whole song. Producers worked on it in Italy and mixed it and stuff over there. And the rhythm section was recorded over there, as well as some guitars and some kind of color instruments. So it's a totally new way of working for us as a band. We've never tried that before, and we're pretty excited to share the result of it with everyone. It comes out on December 10th, and if you go to our Instagram profile and click on the link, you can pre-save it now, or if you go to the Pod Songs website, I think you can pre-save it from there also. So it's a different way to work for my brother and I. We normally write from a place of being inspired by something that happened in our lives or things we see in the world around us, and those kind of percolate over time, and then we write a song based on it. But this was a totally new way of working, to have an interview with a really fascinating guy about the work that he does, about a topic that is very interesting to us, and then sit down and just say, we're going to write a song about this. And we wrote it in a day. And that's something that's really new for my brother and I. So we're excited to share it with folks and to see what people think, you know. But I'm just getting texts now about how messed up the Instagram stream was. I am now aware of it because Steve thankfully let me know, or I just sort of rambled on for an hour without knowing the Instagram live stream was messed up. So thank you, Steve, for letting me know, or else I would have really been lost. I'm just letting folks know that it is now on YouTube. So anyway, that is the story of new single Changes that'll be coming out on the 10th, and we're really excited to share it with folks. And just like I did last week when I did a live stream here on YouTube, I'm down to answer questions if anyone has them. Anything you want to know or whatnot. As I was saying on the Instagram, folks who know us, like Steve, know that I'm quite like an oversharer. I'm kind of an open book. So anything you guys want to know about the band, what we're doing, anything, just let me know. I'm down to answer questions. I'm not doing anything else right now. And this little fellow behind me, Duke, might interject from time to time with some barks. So please bear with that. There's two other dogs here as well, but they're not on camera. They are hiding at the moment. So there might be some barking and growling and whatnot, but it's all good. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? For folks who weren't able to join us on my live stream last week, it was mostly people from overseas, from different countries that we were talking with. For anyone who might have missed that, I was kind of giving a little update on what's up with the band. You know, we took a break for quite a while of being really active and being on the road. And you're a good boy, Duke. And he has the face of a good boy. He's being very calm right now, which is kind of rare. But yeah, we took a break from the band for a while. We were pursuing other stuff creatively, all of us. And my brother and I started talking a little bit ago, after we both finally lived in the same city again, about making some new music and putting out new music and getting back on stage, being more active with the silent comedy. And we decided to start that process. So our full band was released like a month ago, cover of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain. We were really excited to get that out. We recorded it quite a long time ago, and we were just kind of sitting on it for a long time. The response to that has been really wonderful. We thank everyone for their feedback on the chain. It's really special to us. And the video that we made, which is here on YouTube, you can watch it on our profile, is also very personal, very special to us. It really follows the story of the band from it's cool to me because literally our first recording session in a garage when we first started is in that video, and our first show back after COVID is at the end of that video. So it's really special to me because it's the breadth of the story of the silent comedy up until this point, and kind of it's opening a new chapter of new things that are coming for the silent comedy. So to answer Eric's question, we have tour plans for next year. We currently have our fingers crossed to see if they're going to still happen, as everyone in the touring world has a bit of a rough time right now because the situation health-wise is changing for everyone all over. And our main thing that we've been concerned with as we come back and start doing shows is we want people to be safe. We don't want to put anyone in danger. So we're definitely kind of monitoring the COVID situation, making sure that we do stuff that's outdoors where everyone can have a good time and feel safe. So we do have tour plans, Eric, to answer your question, and Chubby Jedi. We are planning some stuff for the summer of 2022, mostly in the northwest of the United States. And that will probably mean that in the spring of 2022, we do more shows to kind of ramp up and get ready for that, probably in Southern California. We'll probably be returning to San Diego, our hometown, with some proper kind of silent comedy shows. The last couple shows that we've done in Southern California in June, and then just in the beginning of November, we're playing with a bunch of other bands, and we're not really headlining, but we have some headlining silent comedy shows in the works for the new year. So that is what we have on the docket. But we also have a lot more songs rolling out, planned to roll out between now and next summer. Quite a lot of material is going to come out from us between. So we're really excited to share that with everyone. Hello in Peru. I'm glad that you could tune in. That's great. And we should come farther south. How much farther south is it? Bayon? I'm not sure how to pronounce the screen name, but how much further south are you talking about? Like South America? We would love to go down to South America and tour. So far, the furthest south we've gotten is Mexico. We've had wonderful shows in Mexico in the past. Brandy, Houston. We would love to come back to Houston. Texas stuff is potentially going to be on the docket. We are heading to Texas in January to record a whole batch of new material. I can't talk too much about that yet, I don't think, but we're pretty excited to go back in the studio. Also Pavlos from Greece. Hello, welcome. It's pretty late where you are. Thanks for tuning in, all the insomniacs in the world. Thank you, Poker Test. We appreciate the love. And Darren, how you doing? We will. So a little thing for you, Darren. If everything goes as planned in 2022, we will be coming back to Oregon. Fingers crossed. We will be coming back to Oregon for sure, probably in the summer of 2022. As sure as anyone can be about the up to the northwest of the United States in 2022. So, I'm getting a warning from YouTube that my connection is unstable. Internet is not my friend tonight. Please let me know. It looks like it reconnected me. Please let me know if you could still hear me, because I seem to be experiencing more internet issues than I normally do. Am I still live? I have no idea. It's a big question mark. Excellent. Okay, excellent. Oh, so Bellion, Georgia or Alabama? We'll see. We'll see. I live in Tennessee now, and my brother does as well. I'm not in Tennessee right now. I'm in New York, but uh, we would love to play in Georgia more. We'd love to play in the South in general more. In the past, that was not the region that silent comedy had the most presence in, but hopefully in the new year we will be. Hopefully, we'll be coming back to the South and the Southeast a lot more. Um, Thank you very much, Scraphead, about the music video. It was really personal for us to put that video together. It was really the story of the. Oh, Amanda, hello. Sorry, Scraphead, I got distracted. It was really it's the story of the silent comedy's whole journey. So it meant a lot to me to put it together. It was my personal desire to do that video. It's not a real music video. It's not like something to try to appeal to the most people or whatever. It was just like a personal thing for me to kind of tell the story of the band to folks who were there for a lot of those experiences and to folks who are just new to our material or who've never seen us live or anything. I wanted people to know that there's a long history with the silent comedy and to kind of celebrate that because we've had a lot of experiences over the years, many of them very good. We've also had our share of pain and difficult experiences, as everyone has over life. But that was important for us to share that video. Anyway, Amanda, back to that. After I answered Scraphead's comment, good to see you. I'm so very sorry that we did not get to go to Pokies together when I was in San Diego last, but next time. We had a whole band meeting at Pokies, so it was really good. But Justin Wild, do we have a new album coming out soon? We are going in the studio in January. We have a lot of new songs coming, and we're going in the studio in January to record a batch of new songs. As far as a full album, I'm not sure exactly when. We're going to be rolling the songs out over time as singles. We'll probably put out an EP in the end of spring, and hopefully there'll be a full new record's worth by later in 2022. Not 100% sure, but we're really excited about this new material. I was actually just listening to some today, and it's stuck in my head constantly, and I'm really excited to get in the studio and track it and to share it with everyone. Justin, any chance of touring in Utah? Hopefully. We'll see. We need to route from Tennessee up into the northwest in 2022 if everything goes according to plan. So Utah could be on that route. We have played in Salt Lake City before, several times, but we haven't been to Utah in a while, so we'd love to get back. I love to go there myself. I love to go there and snowboard. I might be going there at the end of this month to do some snowboarding, and we'd love to come back and play. Utah is beautiful, and we would love to get back. What am I drinking? Jedi. This is an Italian, actually, I need a little top up. This is an Italian wine. It has a cool label, but I can't really pronounce any of it. So that is what it is. I'm drinking Italian wine. No worries, Bellion. I'm glad you joined us for a little bit. Yes, Amanda, next time. Absolutely, because I need more Pokies in my life. And it was actually I am sending a link real quick to a buddy of mine. It was a terrible decision, Amanda, that I took the whole band to Pokies right before our show in San Diego last time because I was way too full of Mexican food when we played the show. And then I had to go straight from the show to the airport and fly back to Tennessee that night. And I was not happy on the plane because I was so full of Mexican food. I had stuffed myself so much. So next time I get back to San Diego, Pokey's meetup for sure, and it should just be not around a show, not close to a show at all, or else I might vomit on stage. So, any other questions? I really love doing this. I'm sad that the Instagram connection didn't hold up enough because I like the Instagram platform a little easier for it's easier to see the comments in real time. But I would love to answer any more questions since folks are here. Like, we have been sad over the past couple of years to not have as much connection with all of our kind of silent comedy family as we would like. So feel free to hit me up with anything right now. I'm just here chilling at my place in the woods, so I don't have anything else to do. What is our main source of inspiration? Ooh, man, big concepts, beliefs, philosophies that make our music. Ooh, that's a big one, Sushi. But I appreciate that question. I'll try to answer it in a way that is short because I could talk about that question for hours. Our main source of inspiration. So, for folks who have never seen the band live or have never talked to us before, I am the founder of the band. My name is Josh, and my brother is the other co-lead singer of the band, Jeremiah. We both sing usually like half of the material, and we write all of the material together, save for like a few songs here and there. My brother Jeremiah and I write all of the material together, and we're inspired by so many different things. Someone was just asking online a little while ago what the inspiration for an older song of ours, Bones, was. And part of the inspiration is this highway that was built in Russia under Stalin, in which, you know, maybe 250,000 people died in the construction of this highway through the kind of wilderness there. That was a big inspiration for that song. You know, stuff that we see in the world in history like that, stuff that happens in our own lives. Usually for me, in the past, I would take a personal experience, like some kind of emotional pain that I'd had in my personal life, and I would turn it into a fictional setting. Like, I'd write a story around it. There's an old story of ours called, or an old song of ours, 49, where I did that. I took a personal experience in my life that was very painful for me, and I turned it into a story about in America, in California, back in 1849. So I used to do a lot of that. My brother is a little bit more directly personal. Songs of his, like Gasoline, are really, really personal and directly personal for him. We have a we have a troll in here, which I'm just discovering how to remove. Some kind of bot. So, so I'm just removing that right now. I'm learning how to work all of this stuff in real time. Yeah, so I hope that speaks to the inspiration question. It's a really big question, and as far as philosophies and stuff go, that's an even bigger question. My brother and I were raised. Our father is a preacher. We were raised in that world. We also traveled the whole world when we were kids, traveling in Southeast Asia mostly. We saw a lot of very intense things in our early life that were pretty traumatic. And so our worldview is shaped by that pretty deeply. So people talk about the fact that the silent comedy is dark lyrically for a lot of folks. And for my brother and I, that's just the way that we have experienced the world. And so we write about the stuff that kind of matters to us. And to us, like love songs and things are just, we're not really that interested in it. We're interested in bigger things that happen in the world. So I hope, Sushi, that kind of answers your question a little bit. Justin Wild asked, what's the inspiration behind Enemies Multiply? I don't know if you mean the song or the whole record. Justin. But the kind of the and the song both came out of a time in our lives as a band when we were getting kind of hit on all sides by a lot of negative stuff from the music industry, from old friends, from people who had kind of turned on us because our lives had changed a lot, and so we felt pretty attacked, or kind of like we were in this kind of foxhole mentality as a band at that time when we recorded Enemies Multiply. So that is really what had gone into it. We were experiencing quite a lot of intense stuff personally, and we channeled all of that into all the songs that are on that record. There's a lot of songs about struggle and hopelessness, and trying to find some hope in a world that is difficult to find hope in. And when we wrote the album, folks in the music industry told us that it was too dark at that time. And then since then, I think the world has taken a turn in which more people find that record kind of appropriate to the way that they see the world now, because it's a challenging existence, in the world. So I hope that people find comfort in Enemies Multiply. I don't think it's as dark as it is kind of talking about the world around us. And then the end of it with the song Peace of Mind, we tried to have a hopeful note. And that's a song that means a lot to us. And for me personally, in the past couple of years, I go back to that song Peace of Mind to kind of bring myself some comfort in a world that is very difficult at times. Jedi, I'm behind on these questions. Sorry. Jedi, favorite song to work on. Ooh, favorite song to work on. I don't really love recording in the studio, but I think I think God Neon was maybe my favorite, because we had done a bunch of sessions with a lot of different producers to try to find the right fit. And God Neon was the first song we did with the producer Frenchie Smith, who we made all of Friends Divide EP, Enemies Multiply, also The Chain that we just released. We recorded all of that with Frenchie in Austin, Texas. And he was really the guy who kind of got what we were trying to do from a production standpoint. And so God Neon was our first experience with him, and that was the song that we recorded just by itself to feel out if he was the right producer for us. And it was so much fun, and he really tapped into the exact sound that we wanted to get across, and that felt more like the energy of our live show. So probably God Neon was my favorite one to work on. Let's see. Glenn, come play a show in Orange County. We will, hopefully, in the new year. There'll be much more Southern California stuff coming in the new year for sure. Justin, I'm going to try to catch up here because I got behind. Justin, Gasoline is all-time fave. Awesome. Mine as well. J.A., All Saints Day is so powerful. One of my favorite songs. Thank you. It's one of my favorites also. So Gasoline and All Saints Day were two songs that were written totally by my brother. And because of that, I feel like I'm a fan of those songs. Like I can appreciate them as a fan, not even as someone who's in the band, because my brother's songwriting is like my favorite thing in the world. He's so talented and has a way to pack this emotional punch in his lyrics that is just incredible to me. Brandy, Victory is your favorite. That's also one of my brothers. It's one of my favorites as well. None of my songs that I wrote like completely in the band are my favorites at all. They're all my brothers, because he's just a very talented guy. So All Saints, I agree. And I think All Saints Day is one of those songs, like speaking to an earlier question about what inspires us, is like All Saints Day is about looking at the world and giving an assessment of the entire world and trying to find some comfort in the context of how difficult being human can be. And I think over time, All Saints Day becomes more and more meaningful, and it's always timely because a lot of things in the world don't change, unfortunately, over time. Um, Justin, you thought 49 was about 49ers moving west to Cali. Uh, it's not. It was really about a personal heartbreak interpreted through the story of the gold rush and about people from the Northeast running out west to try to seek their fortune. That's what 49 is about. Steve, I'm reading your question now. While it takes longer to finish the song remotely, it's going to more polished. That's a good question about the remote recording process, which is what this new single we're releasing in 6 days. It was recorded half in Nashville by my brother and I, and half in Italy by a talented team of musicians and a producer over there for the podcast Pod Songs. It's interesting, the question about if people's parts are more polished since you're not really like tinkering around in real time. I don't know if that's really the case. It's something that I think the dynamic is different when you record remotely like that. It changes the vibe. Obviously, you're not playing off of each other in a room, which is something that is really different for us because we have tried to capture that live feeling with the band in the past. So I think you'll hear that in the track is it's not exactly the same as when a band plays together in a room, but other parts of it are more fun or more interesting because we're working with musicians that we've never met and that we've never worked with before, and they're bringing something to the song that we wouldn't have necessarily done. So that part of it is pretty cool because it's bringing some different like spice to the mix, like with a cooking analogy. So we really liked the experiment of working remotely, but it's definitely different than the recording we've done in the past. All right, let's see. Eric, thank you for the compliment about Purple Heart. That is one that I wrote myself completely. And the way I normally write is with a flash of inspiration. So Purple Heart, I got a postcard. My grandfather had a Purple Heart from World War II, and he was dying. My mom was taking care of him as he was leaving life, and she had sent me a postcard, and the stamp on it happened to be a Purple Heart stamp. And I got the postcard in the mail, and it affected me so much that I sat down and wrote that song in like 30 seconds. The whole song just poured out, and I wrote it just in one sitting. So that's how I sometimes write. My brother is more talented than I am, so he can sit down and write a song. He can just start playing and he can write a song. I usually take that kind of like flash of inspiration, like a lightning bolt, because something just has to affect me really deeply to move me to kind of write. So thank you for the compliment, Eric, about Purple Heart. That song is really, really special to me. And it's definitely an homage to my grandfather who was shot in World War II. Sushi, I like music with heavy and serious subjects. Intensity is reality. In America, we focus on ignoring the big issues and seek employment. I would agree with that. I think America is a country that has been built on trying to ignore real issues and focus on other things. So cheers to that. My brother and I are doing our little part to try to bring focus back to things that actually matter. Justin, why did we drop down to a quartet? That is a good question. Something I tried to illustrate in the video for The Chain that came out recently for people who are not familiar with the history of the band is that we've gone through a lot of different phases. A lot of different people have come and left over the course of the time that the silent comedies existed. And part of that reason was we were evolving. So we started as this acoustic act that literally sat on chairs and played in coffee shops, like really acoustic music, like singer-songwriter stuff. And we morphed into a band that incorporated like string sections and horn sections. At different times, we'd have like 14 people on stage playing, and it was very wild and raucous, and um, that was exciting, and it was very different, and it was chaotic in a very fun way. Those were some of our favorite show memories. But over time, the real reason that it decreased in number was we started to tour for real. You know, in the beginning, we were just a local band in San Diego, and so we could pull in all these people that we knew who were great musicians, and we could do this big wild show. But once we started playing a lot on the road, that's a very hard lifestyle to sustain for people. So people started to drop off because they needed to have a real job, or pay their bills. And a lot of us, the guys who stayed, we lived in a van for years and slept on people's floors, and it's a very tough existence. It's not an easy way to live. And it eventually, over years, it whittled down to these four core guys who were kind of had gone through the fire together and were willing to live this lifestyle. And those four guys, we've now traveled the world together playing this music in a lot of different iterations. But for the past, goodness, almost 10 years, we have still been five or more pieces when we play live shows. It's just that the four guys that you see represented in everything are the core members of the silent comedy. We bring in other musicians to kind of augment. Sometimes we have singers who sing with us. We pretty much always have at least another electric guitar player, and that role varies over time. Our good buddy Elijah has played with us on some tours. And now, for quite a few years, our really good friend Noah has been the kind of fifth member of the silent comedy. So you might see him in a lot of pictures and stuff because he's played with us for years now at this point. And when we do fly-in dates, we all fly somewhere and meet up, do a festival or something. Noah has been with us for all of those for a good number of years. But that's why it whittled down to a quartet. Is it's just very hard to live on the road. And at a certain point, we were spending 9 months of a year on the road, and not a lot of people can hang with that lifestyle. So, Justin, Chad, my brother, and I, we were the guys who could hang with it over a certain amount of time. Guillermo, years ago you found Bartholomew. You love Light of Day. Ah, thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in from Spain. It's very late in the evening there. Light of Day is one of my favorite songs ever. I'm so glad you like that Jam in the Van version. That's a really special version that's different than the version that's on the record. And I love that one too. It's a cool thing that got captured in that Live in the Band session. Clyde, you like The Well in 49. Cheers to you. And Enemies Multiply. All great songs. Sushi, Bartholomew's your favorite. That's all good. Interesting interpretation of it. I can't completely speak to that song because I wasn't one of the writers on it, but I do know that it is deeply about the flaws of humanity. So you can take that however you would like. I know that the guy who wrote the lyrics, it had a lot to do with his personal life that he kind of brought into a fictional context, as we've done with a lot of songs over the course of the silent comedy. So it's not about one specific thing, but it is about a lot of things. Justin, great question about victory. That is a very astute question. And yes, that is a reference to Winston Churchill. My brother wrote that song, and there's a lot of imagery represented in it. There's a representation of the sculpture, the Winged Victory, that I think was from the Renaissance, I believe. I might be wrong about that. But yes, that reference to the guy who raises his fingers is in reference to Winston Churchill, in that that symbol that before it meant peace meant victory. Um, very astute observation there. I cheers you on that. Although to appropriately cheers to a Winston Churchill reference, I should have scotch and a cigar, but I don't. um, yeah, Kava, we're back. Back with another live stream. We were doing this on Instagram, and the internet connection couldn't keep up, so I moved it over here to YouTube. Hey, Justin, be careful what you wish for. We might just show up at your place in Utah. We have done quite a few shows that are kind of off the grid, so you never know. Yes, I think you're right there, Cabo. I think it's Nike, not or Nike, not Winged Victory. I think that's just like an English version of the name of that statue, and not from the Renaissance, from ancient Greece. Thank you for the correction. That's why if it was from the Renaissance, it would still have a head and stuff, but it doesn't. It just has the wings. Oh, cool, Justin. That's great. Yeah, it's an English/history teacher is the right person to listen to our music, because there are a lot of references throughout that I never know if people actually pay attention to. Um, we have a lot of layers to the references that we make and stuff, and sometimes I think people only want to dance at shows, so it's pretty. It's definitely an interesting bit of layering in the lyrics. Is there a bucket list venue we'd love to play but haven't had a chance to yet? Yes, Eric, that's a wonderful question. Amanda is definitely right. Red Rocks should be on everyone's list of places they haven't gotten to play. We've not had a chance to play Red Rocks yet. That would be absolutely incredible. Just such a beautiful place. I've been there. It's such a special location. It would be wonderful to play a show there. We've had a great opportunity to play the Gorge in Washington, which is also a beautiful natural landscape, but we have not played at Red Rock, so that would be one for sure. Other bucket list venues, I would love to play the Greek Theater in LA. That's a very special place. We haven't had a chance to do that yet. I'd like to play the Wiltern in LA as well. That's another special one. Yeah, I mean, there's so many venues that we'd love to play, but we've also been fortunate to play in amazing ones. We got to play Coco in London that used to be called the Camden Palace. Very, very special place. Goes back all the way to the days of vaudeville. And there was a catastrophic fire there since we played there. So it's no longer a venue. I don't know if they're restoring it or not, but I was really happy that we got to play there before it burned down. Beautiful, beautiful place. Charlie Chaplin played there. Really cool history there. We did a redo of Common Faults a bit ago. Do we have any other songs we'd like to re-release with new production? Cavo, that is a wonderful question. We have a ton of older stuff that we want to redo, and that's actually been a big discussion as we come back and are getting. Oh, Nathaniel, sorry, Cavo, I have to interrupt that. The Ryman is the absolute right answer. The Ryman in Nashville is one of the most special rooms in the whole country of the United States. I love to see shows there. It's a beautiful place. The vibe is so hard to describe if you've never been there, but it's just such a special place to see music. It was a church when it was originally built, and it's like a church to music now. It's where the Grand Ole Opry used to be held, and I would love to play there. That's absolutely high on the list. Amanda, you said Fonda in LA. We have played the Fonda, and we had a great show there with the Heavy back in the day. We love that show. One of our most special shows to date. So I'm going to go back to Cavo's question because it's a good one. Is there old material that we would like to redo with different production? Absolutely. We have a ton of older material. We pulled our old back catalog off the internet years ago because we didn't like the way it was recorded. And we have songs from all of those older records that we still love, and we would love to do with higher production value. So that's been a big source of discussion as we are becoming more active. We want to release more stuff, is how much should be totally new and how much should be revisiting old. And we're going to do a mix of it. In the new year, we're going to have a mixture of reinterpretations of older songs and brand new stuff. The song I've had in my head all day today while I was working around my property here is brand new. No one has ever heard it. And I love it. It's one of my brothers that is just incredible. So ones like that are going to be brand new. And then there's a whole batch of older stuff that we're going to reimagine, probably change up a little bit, like some of the lyrics we want to change, some of the sounds we want to change. But we've got a lot of older stuff that we're going to redo for a new chapter. So that was a great question, Cabo. Let's see. Justin, what is your reference to Charlie Chaplin? In general, I think so. The name of the band came from, I was in film school, and in learning the early days of film, it was all comedy back then. So in the early discussions about film, they kept saying the silent comedies, the silent comedy era, silent comedy this, silent comedy that. And I wrote in my notebook, good band name, the Silent Comedy. And that's where the name of the band came from. And so Charlie Chaplin was a natural, even though Buster Keaton is probably a little more my favorite of that era, Charlie Chaplin was a natural touchstone early on for the band, in the sense also that he was a universal entertainer. He was one of the first global stars because in the silent era, language wasn't a barrier. And so people from all over the world could relate to the emotions that he was expressing. And music is similar in a lot of ways. You know, music can cross boundaries, people from different cultures, from different backgrounds. So that's why early on, a lot of our imagery was centered around Charlie Chaplin, because he was kind of this inspirational touchstone for the band. So that's a good question. From Steve, do another tour with the Heavy. We would love to. I just saw on Instagram today that those guys are working on a new record, The Heavy, and we would love to tour with them again. They are wonderful friends of ours. We did 2 North American tours, a tour of the UK together. We love them so much, and we would jump at a chance to tour together again. We would absolutely love it. Everyone's saying hi to Nathaniel. My good buddy Nathaniel tuned in. He's from an incredible band called Fierce Creatures that we used to play with a lot back in the day, but he has since become, you know, one of my best friends. And we now live in the same city together, which is super cool. And he's playing a new band now called Heavy the Mountain that is totally different than Fierce Creatures, but is a hell of a lot of fun. It's like heavy psych rock, and I love it. I've been to a couple of their shows now, and it's great stuff. So check out Heavy the Mountain if you haven't yet. And also check out Fierce Creatures, because it's incredible. And their song Satan is a Vampire is one of my favorite songs ever of all time. Trying to catch up with comments. Let's see. Cruelty and Clemency production of Gasoline. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, we had Gasoline remix for Cruelty and Clemency. Steve, remaster Sunset Stables would be great. That is true, although what we're probably going to do instead is re-record some stuff from Sunset Stables. There are at least 2 songs from Sunset Stables that are on the docket to be totally re-recorded, one of which might happen sooner than another. Mysterious. Amanda, when is the Long Promised Country album coming out? That's been a source of a lot of debate. I wanted that to come out in the spring. That's what we were going to record in January, was a more country focused thing, and I got overruled by everyone. So the collection of songs we're going to put out in spring is probably going to be a little more diverse, but some of our more country or Americana skewing songs will probably be on it. but I've been wanting to do something that is like solely focused on country Americana sound for a long time, and I keep getting overruled by everyone else in the band and in the business structure of the band. So I don't know when that will come out, but someday I want to do an EP at least that is just solely focused on a twangier country sound. Um, I keep getting told that that's a bad idea, but we'll see. Let's see. Tuba song redone. That's a good poll, Amanda. I was just thinking about tuba song earlier today, interestingly enough. Cavo, are there any people you haven't toured with yet that you're particularly interested in getting to know? Oh, well, there's many, many, many. I think on the non-realistic front, Nick Cave is one of my favorite artists of all time. I would love to tour with Nick Cave. I don't think that would ever happen per se, but I think the silent comedy and Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds would be an amazing tour, and I would be in hog heaven if that happened. He's just like one of the greatest. Oh, this spam person is back, even though I reported them. All right, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it again. Reporting them and removing it. Oh, wait, I can hide them. I'm learning all kinds of things right now about what you can do on here. But yeah, the spam is kind of weird. We haven't dealt with that yet. But yeah, Nick Cave would be incredible. Arcade Fire is someone that we wanted to tour with forever. I don't know, that would probably never happen. But on the more attainable front, I would love to tour with the Avett Brothers. We have a lot in common with them. You know, we're brothers. We have sounds that don't fit into any one genre. That's something that could be more attainable. People that I'd like to get to know more. There's a songwriter named Josh Ritter whose stuff I've been a fan of for many, many years. I would love to tour with him, and I would love to just get to know him more as a songwriter. He's been a big inspiration to me personally, and I would love to get to know him more, know what inspires his writing, because he's a fascinating songwriter to me. So those are some answers, Cabo, for that. Was the CNC video a one-take production? What do you mean CNC video? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Justin. Oh, gasoline. Yes, it was one take. And we did it multiple times. So if you're not sure what Justin is referring to, if you go to our YouTube profile and look for gasoline, not the live version at the Casbah, but there's a version we did in the woods, which I believe Amanda was there for. It was one take, and we did it multiple times to try to get the timing right. It was a 360 in the woods where we were performing live. So the audio that's on it is our live performing. And we had to do it quite a few times to try to get it right. And the take that was used, the sun was going down, and it was so dark that on location in the woods, we could barely see. But luckily, the cameras were light sensitive enough to pick it up. But they also had to up the brightness a lot in post because it was almost unusable. It was so dark at that point. It was one of the last takes we did that we finally nailed the timing and stuff. So if you go look at that gasoline video, it was pretty fun to make. But yes, that is truly a one take video. There's no editing tricks at all. That was a single 360 where we performed the song. Let's see. Chances of touring with Ratliff. Oh, Justin, that's a good question. That's actually another great one that is probably on the more realistic side to tour with Nathaniel Ratliff and the Night Sweats. We played with them in 2019 at Under the Big Sky Festival in Montana. Love their music. People were mistaking our drummer Chad for Nathaniel Ratliff the whole time at the festival, and that was very funny to us. We would love to tour with them. There's a million things that go into who gets to tour with who, and it's tougher and tougher to get those spots, especially after COVID, as many bands are desperate for money because their livelihood was taken away from them. So touring with a band like Nathaniel Ratliff that we don't have a personal connection to might be a little bit tougher for us, but we would love to. I think our band would go great with their band live, and that would be a blast. And we would love to do it. But a lot of bands now, they're only taking people out that they know personally. So, someone like the Heavy to do another tour together, that would be easier for us because we know those guys and we have a direct connection with them. But we would love to tour with the Night Sweats. Great opener for Pearl Jam. Hey, I'd take it. I would love to play with Pearl Jam. They put on an amazing show. That's probably more in the unrealistic category, but later, Nathaniel. Good to see you. So I probably should wrap up relatively soon in the next 5 minutes or so, just because I'm looking at the clock and it's getting to be about an hour. But I'm so happy that everyone has joined me. Are there any other questions that anyone has? Like, you guys have had some great questions so far. The one I did last week, it was really cool because there were a lot of folks from overseas who joined, probably because it was Thanksgiving weekend. So it was a little bit tougher for folks in the States, but it was really, really cool to talk to a lot of folks from overseas who are fans, and I loved that. But these are totally different questions. So if you have any more, Justin, great chatting with you as well. Thanks for joining. I really enjoyed your questions. Thanks for asking them. If there are any other questions you have, please throw them out now. I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, there are some links that someone shared earlier about an online strip that I might investigate and see what's up with that. That's not a serious thing. I'm not going to click on the spam links. And I hope no one else does either, because they're probably just phishing to steal your identity. Thank you, Justin. Good to talk with you. Any other questions before I wrap up? I'm happy to answer them. Cabo, any other plans for other kinds of streams? Absolutely. We're just trying it out. We will definitely have some streams of doing songs coming. We'll probably do some streams from the studio. So yeah, there will definitely be different kinds of streams coming. We'll try to do more Instagram live as well. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, go to just the Silent Comedy at the Silent Comedy and follow us. I tried tonight and the connection wasn't right. For whatever reason, YouTube works better. But we will definitely be doing some different kinds of streams and more music in the future. I'm just out in the woods right now, so can't really do like stuff with my brother out here. But when I get back to Nashville, we'll be doing some song streams also. Sushi, have I seen the film? I'm sorry to say that I haven't seen The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. I have listened to Nick Cave's score, though, for it quite a few times. It's kind of strange that I haven't watched the movie, but I've listened to the score, but I have. I should watch that movie. I'm sure that I would love it. I'm familiar with the story of Jesse James and his killing quite a bit, so I would like to watch that movie a lot. Jedi, are you going to do any of video games or movies? Not sure exactly what you mean by that. Like if our songs are going to be a part of any. They have been in the past, and we would love for them to be more in the future. That's not up to us. There's a lot of industry things that go into that. If we're going to like appear in any video games or movies, that's also not up to us. We would love to. It would be super fun to be like make a cameo in a video game, but someone would have to reach out to us about that. We can't just decide that we want to be in a video game or a movie. But yeah, as far as our music being used in those things, we would love to. It's just that is a very competitive side of the entertainment industry. So we don't get to choose how much we want to participate. We try to, and it's up to the people that create those products if they want to feature our stuff or not. Let's see. Fiery Frog, love your music. Are we aware that Spotify lacks some of our tracks? Um, yes, we are. Fiery Frog, that is a good point. I referenced it earlier. We pulled some of our discography from all the online service providers years ago because we weren't happy with the recordings. So we're definitely aware that some of our tracks are not on those streamers, and for a reason, because we don't like the way they were recorded. Um, but we do have plans to re-record some of that stuff and re-release it. So Daisy in particular is one that I've been making an argument for re-recording because I love that song, but I don't like the recording that exists. So keep an eye out for that. Kava, what's the cat's name? There are no cats here. There is a dog back on the couch there, and that is Duke. There's another dog right here named Buddy, but he's hiding behind a pillow. And there's another dog right here named Mochi. There are 3 dogs here, and they've been quite quiet this whole time. So, you know, they've been really being good boys and girls. Book a show with Fierce Creatures, Strange Run, and Stone Foxes. We would love to play with all of those folks again. They're all good friends of ours, and we would absolutely love to do it. Heavy Guilt as well. We love playing with those guys. No more questions. That's all good. Thank you so much, Clyde, for the compliment. I'm glad that you enjoyed the music, and keep an ear out. There's going to be a lot more coming soon. I think someone asked me. Yes, Amanda asked how many songs will be released in 2022. I don't know for sure. I do know that at the moment, let me think about it. At the moment, we have at least 12 songs that are in the hopper for 2022 without redoing old stuff, really. Not like the old stuff from old records. So at the moment, there's at least 12 songs we have in line to be released in 2022. New ones are being written like literally daily. My brother sends me stuff that he's working on that I've never heard before. Then I want to redo stuff like Daisy, like we were talking about. I want to redo songs like River Rolls from back in the past. I want to do new stuff with some old favorites that is not exactly re-recording it for a record. Old favorites like All Saints Day or Bartholomew. We'll have to see what happens with that, but I have some fun plans for songs like that. So there's a lot of things in 2022 that we want to do, and it's mostly going to be up to our schedules because we have pretty busy lives nowadays. DA3, are there any other song sounds you guys have done similar to Bartholomew? That's a question that people ask quite a lot. Bartholomew is a little bit of an outlier for our catalog, and it's kind of an outlier for most people's catalogs. There aren't a lot of songs that sound exactly like that. I would say Light of Day and Avalanche, in my mind, are in that kind of bigger rock, gritty vein. They're not totally like Bartholomew. Bartholomew was the result of a lot of interesting songwriting and production factors that are not the way that we normally write things. So that's part of why that song is the way that it is. It was kind of a 1 in a million kind of song. But there's also a song on our record Enemies Multiply that you can find on Spotify that is called No Saints Forgiven, that has a little bit of the vibe and gritty bluesiness that maybe Bartholomew would have. But we don't have many songs that are exactly like it because it's a very unique song. It's a very different sound. And our band, and for anyone who wants us to only sound a certain way, it's good to know this. Our band is extremely diverse in the kind of music that we like and the kind of music that we want to write. So it's hard to find any one song that sounds exactly like another song from our whole catalog. We have a lot of different tastes, and we very much do not want to write the same song over and over again. So if people are frustrated that we don't have more songs that sound like Bartholomew. That's not really the kind of band we are. There are other bands who write the same song over and over, and we're not one of them. So that's probably the best answer to that. And the songs you'll see, the song we have coming out in 6 days called Changes. You can pre-save it now if you go to at the Silent Comedy. It's drastically different than the last thing we put out, a cover of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain in November. They're drastically different sounds and vibes and everything. And that's kind of how we do things. We write a lot of different kinds of songs, and some people might like some stuff we do and not like other things we do, and that's okay with us. Yeah, Jedi, that's a good point. You said Bartholomew is the only song like it that you've heard. That is true. It's a very unique song. It's different than a lot of stuff that I've heard from anyone else, and that really comes from my brother and a guy who used to be in the band wrote it together, and it was when it first came into the band, it sounded totally different, and my brother essentially constructed the song you hear now in the studio. It wasn't like a whole band working on making that song. He really constructed it piece by piece, literally, in the studio. So it's a very unique song, and it's cool because of that, and it's a fun song because of that. All right, well, I think thank you, Fiery Frog. Yeah, we have a lot of new songs in the works, and I'm glad that you are looking forward to hearing them. And definitely let us know what you think on comments and whatnot. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you all for joining me, and for everyone who came over from Instagram, thank you for doing that, because I don't know why Instagram was having a greater connection problem than YouTube is, but I really love being able to interact with folks and talk and answer questions and stuff. So we'll be doing more of this, and then we'll be doing more things that are song related and us performing things, and maybe even we'll give sneak peeks of new songs on these live streams in the future. So definitely tune in when you can. And I'm almost dry, but cheers to everyone. Thank you for joining. Salud.